Great. Thank you and welcome to the June 27th, 2022 regular City Council meeting. I will start out by just doing a land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the land on which we gather is Treaty 2 land, traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Assiniboine, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and homeland of the Métis Nation. We affirm our commitment to moving forward in partnership with Indigenous communities in a spirit of collaboration and reconciliation. Moved by Councillor Bellemare and Councillor Juba, be it resolved that the regular council meeting agenda be amended as follows. Addition 9E, 2021 audited financial statements. Any questions? All those in favor? Any opposed? Call that moved. Call that carried. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Bellemare and seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that Council accepts the regular council meeting agenda as amended. I'll call the question. All those in favor? That's carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare and seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that Council waives the reading and accepts and approves as circulated the minutes of the following meeting, the regular council meeting of June 13th, 2022. Any questions on that? I'll call the question. All in carried. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Be it resolved that all items listed under item 5 consent agenda be approved as follows and form part of these minutes. Sorry. Yep. Okay. Perfect, thank you. Under number 5, consent agenda A, action items. Number 1, outstanding water accounts be added to taxes. We have 6 water accounts to be added to taxes, and these are for current landlord did not pay current utility bill, and that is roll number 1300 at 35 Alexandria Avenue for $308.10. Roll number 302,800 at 425 Whitmore Avenue East, units A to H, and that's for $2,746.43. Roll number 226,600, 36A King Street for $124.05. Roll number at 430 Railway Avenue for $290.62. Roll number 229,000 at 511 Railway Avenue for $347.25. And roll number 229,050 at 501 Railway Avenue for $319.03. And again, that was for landlord didn't pay current utility bill. And we have one more, roll number 109,800 at 38 6th Avenue Southeast for $135.08. And tenant did not pay final utility bill. The total for the taxes, the total for the water accounts being added to taxes is $4,270.56 as recommended by the Director of Finance and the Utility Clerk. Under A, filing items, we have the Association of Manitoba Municipalities, outstanding provincial responses to the 2021 AMM resolutions, and the news bulletin for June 10th, 2022. Under item 2, Federation of Canadian Municipalities, FCM Connect newsletter for June 7th, June 14th, June 17th, and June 21st of 2022. Under item 3, for Government of Manitoba, news releases, finance, sport, culture and heritage, the new board appointments, and the Finance Department Tax Freedom Day. Under item 4, Mountain View School Division News Digest for June 13th, 2022. Under 5, Multi-Material Stewardship Manitoba, Inc., the 2021 Annual Report. Under item 6, Crisis Prevention Task Force, Change in Building Ownership. Item 7, Canadian National Railway investing $160 million in its infrastructure and equipment in Manitoba in 2022. And number 8, Manitoba Association of Watersheds, Prairie Watersheds Climate Program, as recommended by the Mayor and City Manager. Any questions with those? Go ahead, Councillor Juba.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Sticalo. I was just looking over the utility payments or non-payments. I see the first 5 are listed, landlord, did not, and I can understand those being added to taxes because there is an actual property and an actual owner, but item number 6 there says previous tenant did not pay final utility bill. Does that mean that's was that a tenant in their own permanent home, or was that is that also a rental property that the water bill will be affixed to a property going forward?
So that one most likely a single family home, and it was a rental a rental where someone left and did not pay their water bill. With the ones above, it's the current landlord and current tenants, and they are in that situation. The landlord pays the utility bills, so the tenants most likely are staying, but the water utility is part of the rent.
Well, thank you for the clarification. I really appreciate that, because when people read that out in the when they read the minutes later, there's a difference in that. Thank you for
Any other questions? I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the following corporate report for the June 20th regular Council meeting and that of the City Manager. City Manager, go ahead.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. It's been a couple weeks since the last meeting, the council meeting that we had, and traditionally middle to the end of June is quite busy because people are excited to get meetings done and get things off of their desks so that they can have some summer holidays. So my meeting schedule did reflect that. It's been a busy couple weeks. I start off with my updates to talk about the 2022 municipal election. Again, it's being held on October 26th. Staff at City Hall and our senior election official, who is Kirk Dawson, we've been working hard on preparations for the election. Registration period first, and the registration period for councillors will open on June 30th. To help provide information to the public, to help potential candidates decide if they'd like to run for the positions of mayor or councillor, we will be holding an information session here at City Hall on the evening of July 14th. Details of that right now, and we'll get that out when we have them, but I wanted to do a save the date, and everybody will be welcome to attend that information session. I had the opportunity to do 3 training sessions also in the last couple of weeks. So the first one I talk about is the Canadian Municipal Network for Crime Prevention, or CMNCP. They hosted a webinar entitled Climate Change and Community Safety, and it explored some concepts of how climate change can negatively impact certain aspects of our communities, leading residents to be put in difficult situations, which could lead to unsafe communities or crimes being committed. So a few of the examples were If there's less food production because of weather, that would translate to food insecurity. Hotter or colder temperatures may translate into people seeking shelter in precarious ways. Sometimes these difficult situations translate to a lower level of well-being or lead people to committing crimes just to stay alive. It was an interesting concept. I know that Councillor Bellemare had attended one before. I'm not sure if it was the same one or if this was just a continuation on that, but a very interesting concept and extremely timely because we are working on two concepts regarding environmental stewardship and climate adaptation through a committee of council, as well as a community safety and well-being program that's being spearheaded by the province. Another training that I took was hosted by the Manitoba Municipal Administrators, and it was a professional ethics for municipal administrators, and it was presented by Mike McCandless, who is a municipal lawyer from Winnipeg. Mr. McCandless spoke about the definition of ethics, what a code of ethics encompasses, and gave some examples from well-known associations like the Law Society of Manitoba and the Association of Manitoba Land Surveyors. We ended by reviewing the municipal administrators code of ethics that are on our, and then he led a discussion into that helped participants participate regarding how we might deal with certain ethics challenging situations in the municipal workforce. And the third training I did participate in was again through the Manitoba Municipal Association, and it was number 12 of number 12 asset management training modules. It was presented by Dwayne Nickel, the city manager of the city of Selkirk, and we started doing these back in November 2021. Mr. Nickel walked us through 6 two-hour sessions that presented material, and then following each one of those was a 1-hour session that could ask questions or come back with some questions after the material sunk in. So the 6 topics that we talked about were building a high quality asset inventory, evaluating the condition of our infrastructure assets, managing our infrastructure over its full life cycle, assessing and managing risk, setting service levels, and reporting, and the importance of strategic communication in asset management. By all accounts, if we take Winnipeg and Brandon out of the mix, it appears that the city of Selkirk is the farthest along in their asset management journey. One of the things that I think we had as a takeaway was that Dauphin is off to a very good start with the concept, and we have done a lot of asset inventory collecting and evaluating. And later on in this meeting, we will be recommending a policy be considered for approval. Next topic, I think that everybody's been talking a lot about is mosquito control. So I've included in our report the media release that we put out on June 24th, reinforcing to the public that the decision remains that larviciding for mosquitoes in Dauphin will remain and will at this time not be adulticiding or fogging. We encourage residents to utilize the reduction strategies that were included in the media release. And if that is not effective enough, then to purchase other methods of mosquito control that they can personalize to their own requirements. Our partners at Dolphin Rec were able to start larviciding last week, and the delay was due to weather and moisture conditions. But now that we've done our first round of larviciding, we are going to be anticipating that we'll see a reduction in mosquitoes. We've also confirmed with Dauphin Rec Services, the people who are trained and certified to do the larviciding, that they will be applying it to low-lying and wet areas as usual after each break in the rains and as frequently as possible according to the product recommendations. And last thing I wanted to highlight was that not necessarily one thing, but it was a partnership that I really have enjoyed growing over the last little while. When listing my meetings that I've attended in the last couple of weeks, it occurred to me that our growing relationship with the city of Dauphin, with the RM of Dauphin, is continuing. Just to highlight the excellent partnership and share with council that the city and the RM are working together in the meetings that I attended in the last 2 weeks. There's been five times when we've had the opportunity to work together. So that was with the Dauphin Derailer Cycle Club and Northgate Trails, the State of the City and State of the District addresses put on by the Chamber. Municipal Emergency Coordinator is a shared role, and the coordinator does communicate with both of us regularly. The pre-election potential candidate information session, we're hosting our separate sessions, but we are planning them together and have secured the same speaker. And with the AMM June district meetings, RM Reeve Ron Riz and the city's late mayor Alan Dauphin, they volunteered back in 2020 to host the meeting, got postponed due to restrictions, but both councils have continued over the last couple of years to work well together and to host a wonderful meeting. And as city manager, I certainly do value the staff's relationship with the CAO and the staff of the RM of Dauphin, and we do enjoy working with them. And that concludes my report.
Great. Thank you, City Manager. Are there any questions for City Manager? Councillor Bellemare?
Yeah, meeting that was held with the derailers about the trailhead. Is there any update that can be shared about that?
We actually, we talked about some of the things that they have going on and talked a little bit more about just operational things and a partnership between the RM and the city. So if the RM has a grader up there, maybe they can swing in and do some work on the road, as opposed to the city grader that goes up traditionally about 2 times a year. We talked about different uses for, they have some green team students this year that they're sharing with Country Fest, and talked about some logistics of what the roles that they can play. And I think we talked a little bit about some trailhead maintenance, cleanup, that kind of thing to get it all ready to go for the summer.
Any other questions for the City Manager? Just for myself, just want to note, obviously a lot of meetings going on, and it's it's incredible how much you're able to fit into your schedule, and appreciated, and also too just the RM Dauphin. I know that's been a priority for council and for staff for a number of years, and it's nice to see that that's been highlighted, and the progression moving forward. So thank you for that. With that, I will call the question. All in favor? It's carried. Moved by Councillor Eilers and seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that the finance accounts have been examined by council and hereby authorized and approved as follows. Check totals 29866 to 29926. 61 checks equaling a total of $1,010,832.97. There are no voided checks within that as well. I'll call the question. All in favor? It's carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that council accepts as information the unaudited financial statements before PSAB adjustments for the period ending March 31st, 2022, including the general fund balance sheet and general fund income statement, and the utility fund balance sheet and utility fund income statement. Any questions on those? Call the question. All in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Be it resolved that council accepts as information the reserve report for March 2022. Any questions on that? Call the question. All in favor? It's carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the minutes from the following committees. Number 1, the Dauphin and District Allied Arts Committee, the regular board meeting minutes from April 11th, 2022, as well as the regular board meeting minutes from May 10th, 2022. Number 2, Communities in Bloom Committee, the regular board meeting minutes from May 26th, 2022. Any questions on those? Councillor Bellemare.
Yes, for the Allied Art Council minutes, those are actually the executive minutes. They're not the board minutes. Like there's 2 sets of minutes. Did you want both of those, or I got to thinking about, I'm not sure what you were getting in the past. So if you could check and let me know, and then we can get that executive director to just make sure that you get the ones you want. And a question about Communities in Bloom, the Sunshine Gardens. Maybe Councillor always could ask this. How is that happening? Because I know there's some reorganization happening there. So can you give us an update on that?
I think that Dauphin Neighborhood Renewal gave notice that on May 19th that they were not going to be looking after it. And so there's 4 bids right now planted. And it's unfortunate because we actually had a waiting list. I don't have the list of the ones that were previous gardeners. And so it's unfortunate. And I'm working on something that could be rectified, but we'll discuss that at another meeting that I'll be having with the various groups.
Councillor Juba.
I just want to, for the record, say that the Parkland Chamber of Commerce have had a number of meetings, but they've been like the state of the district. They've been doing a lot of different activities outside the realm of their regular board meetings. And the last couple of regular board meetings, they did not have quorums. They just had meetings. So such time that once Stephen gets caught up with all kinds of stuff, they will be on a go-forward basis get caught up back up with reporting minutes going forward.
Great, thank you for that. Any other questions? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? It's carried. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Councillor Juba. Whereas the financial support through the Disaster Financial Assistance Program, or DFA, for municipalities sustaining damage to infrastructure due to the 2022 spring flooding. And whereas a disaster financial assistance claim requires submission of a council resolution requesting assistance within 90 days of the DFA program announcement, be it resolved that council accepts as information a memorandum dated June 24th, 2020, manager noting the province of Manitoba announced on May 9th, 2022 that infrastructure damage due to the 2002 spring flooding may be eligible for support from the Disaster Financial Assistance DFA program, that damage bridges and other infrastructure at Vermilion Park is eligible for DFA funding, and recommending that a claim be submitted to this program. Further, be it resolved that council agrees with the deputy city manager's recommendation and requests the province to consider providing assistance to the city of Dauphin through the Disaster Financial Assistance Program for response and repair costs incurred resulting from flooding damage at Vermilion Park. Any questions on that? Councillor Bellemare?
Yeah, when you submit a claim, what kind of coverage do you get? Like, is there a percentage, like it's 60% or 100%, or what can we look for?
So my understanding is that there's a deductible based on the size of our population of our community, and then the rest is covered. But there are different, there's some criteria regarding what can be claimed. So one of the things that we've been talking most about is staff who've been working on the fix or the cleanup of those projects during regular business hours. That time is not eligible because they would have been here anyways. So if a third party was hired to do this, would be covered, or if staff had to be there in overtime situations, it would be covered. So we're still navigating through what that would look like, and I don't even know if we've figured out what our deductible is yet. But one of the very first steps is to get council support for going through the process to make the claim, and no doubt we will evaluate in our with finance if it's viable to make the claim, but no doubt it will be.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Councillor Juba.
This question is directed to the city manager. Maybe explain to the community the process in general of repeated insurance claims on and the risk associated with like for Vermilion Park is a high risk. It floods every 2 or 3 years, and we are still covered by insurance. So maybe if you can assure the public that our deductibles don't change, our expenses don't change as far as the rates are concerned for the high risk areas of our community. So if you want to share some information on it, please share it.
Yeah, certainly. So two things here. One is the City of Dauphin's insurance coverage. So it is through municipal buying power of majority of the municipalities in Manitoba, and the carrier is Western Financial Group. Through that group, there's also a partner with Association of Manitoba Municipalities, or AMM, and we do a loss pool contribution as well. So not everything is, it is all insured through Western Financial Group, but there's a loss pool that all claims are drawn from first. And when that pool is, if the pool is depleted, then it's covered by the insurance broker. Through that partnership, the terms of the agreement is that regardless of how many claims municipalities make, the premiums do not go up, which is different than what our home insurance is about. And then specifically speaking with Vermilion Park, there's different things that are covered in the park. So if there's vandalism or a malfunction or something that would be covered with through that Western Financial Group, we can do it that way. Because this one was a little different in that it's flooding and there's a lot of I don't want to say, I was going to say soft infrastructure because it's soft because of the moisture, but trail damage and grounds damage, things like that. Through Western Financial, the deductible for that is $100,000. So through a disaster financial assistance claim, the deductible will be far less than that, and we'll still get the same amount of work done. The one thing to note is specifically, it was in early May of 2022 that the government declared that the spring floods were eligible for disaster financial assistance. If that was not the case, then we would not be able to apply for it. It's very specific on when we can apply for disaster financial assistance. It is only when the province declares it to be an emergency or widespread enough that it was affected by many municipalities. Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Call the question. All in favor? It's carried. Juba, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Whereas Delta 9 Cannabis Inc. is a vertically integrated company focused on bringing high-quality medical and recreational cannabis to markets in Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information correspondence dated June 16th, 2022 from Al Roney, Store Development Officer for Delta 9 Cannabis, advising that the Manitoba Liquor, Gaming and Cannabis Authority requires a letter from the City of Dauphin supporting their Delta 9 retail cannabis store at Unit 2, 1351 Main Street in Dauphin. Further be it resolved that Council appreciates the growth of retail and supports the opening of a Delta 9 retail cannabis store at Unit 2, 1351 Main Street in Dauphin. Any questions on that? Seeing none, I'll call the question. It's carried. Moved by Councillor. Whereas Section 130 of the Municipal Act provides that Council may, by bylaw, establish a position to carry out the powers, duties, and functions of a. And whereas Section 131 of the Municipal Act provides that a designated officer may delegate to an employee of a municipality a power, duty, or function given to the officer under a bylaw or act. And whereas bylaw 7, 2009 establishes the position of the city building inspector as a designated officer for municipal inspections, enforcement, and remedial work or action for structurally dangerous buildings and structures within the City of Dauphin, and bylaw 16, 2015 notes that the appointment of the persons to the designated officer positions shall be authorized by a resolution of council. Be it resolved that as per bylaw 16, 2015, being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin establishing designated officer positions, Dave Durkach be appointed as a designated officer as a building inspector, and that Conrad Demeray be appointed as a designated officer as backup building inspector to allow him to fulfill the duties for municipal inspections, enforcement, and remedial work or action for structurally dangerous buildings and structures within the City of Dauphin when called upon to do so. Any questions on that? Councillor Juba?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. My question is, so our bylaw enforcement officer will have an extra duty, is what basically this means.
So what we're doing is looking at a little bit of succession planning. And we've always had a backup person in City Hall, and most recent backup person did leave us a few years ago. And so when Mr. Demeray started with us, his primary focus was and continues to be bylaw enforcement. But with his aptitude for building and eagerness to learn and whatnot, we saw that there was an opportunity to do some cross-training and to have a backup for when the current building inspector is on vacation or away sick.
It's always great to have a plan and a backup plan, and that's just what makes us stronger as a community. Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? That is carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Eilers. Whereas the city's Public Works, Engineering, ICT, and Finance team have been working on developing a policy, plan, training, and asset registry as part of an asset management program, which will capture the status and condition of all city assets to ensure they continue to be managed responsibly going forward. And whereas the Federation of Canadian Municipalities Municipal Asset Management Program granted funding to the City of Dauphin to assist with the development of a software program that works with the city's existing GIS record of the specifications of city infrastructure, be it resolved that be it resolved that Council accepts as information, Municipal Asset Management Policy 4.4, and a memorandum dated June 24th, 2022, from the Director of Public Works and Operations requesting approval of Policy 4.4 and support for the draft Strategic Asset Management Plan, which will help Council to make better informed decisions about the replacement, rehabilitation, or decommissioning of capital assets in the future. Further be it resolved that Council agrees with the recommendations from the Director of Public Works and Operations, approves Municipal Asset Management Policy 4.4, and supports the draft Strategic Asset Management Plan. Any questions on that? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Approved. That one's carried. Moved by Council, seconded by Councillor Eilers. Whereas the Audit and Finance Committee reviewed the 2021 audited financial statements at their meeting of June 27th, 2022, and whereas the Audit and Finance Committee recommends Council approves the 2021 audited financial statements, be it resolved financial statements for the year ending December 31st, 2021 be approved, and that Council authorizes the Mayor and Deputy Mayor to sign the statements on behalf of the municipal corporation. Any questions on that? I'll just add that on review of the audits, we met prior to this meeting and went over that, and the 2021 audit is complete, and it is a clean audit opinion with no management recommendations. Further to that, I'll just add that the in the audit from the auditor, they did provide the following statement that in our opinion, the accompanying consolidated financial statements present fairly in all material respects the consolidated financial position of the city as at December 31st, 2021, and the results of its consolidated operations, change in net financial assets, cash flows, and supporting schedules for the year that ended in accordance with the Canadian Public Sector Accounting Standards. So with that, seeing no other questions, I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that bylaw 06/2022, being a bylaw to amend City of Dauphin zoning bylaw 04/2015 for 318 Buchanan Avenue West, RSF to RMF, be now read for a first time. Any questions on that? Councillor Bellemare?
Yeah, this is sort of just a question about building in general. As some people are moving towards solar panels on their roof, and the solar panels face south, because that's what they need to do. It works better on some streets in Dauphin than in others, depending on which way the streets are aligned. For future building projects, as more people move to that, is that information available to us as councillors to know what the roof is going to look like?
Very good question. Very good question. I think that anybody building it's at their discretion on how they want to orient their house, or if they do want to put in solar. There's different, based on a lot. There's room to put, the long way to the street, or the short way to the street, and then they can either way would orient their house so that they would have a larger roof area facing south, or change the roof line so that there's a bigger area facing south. That would be something that's not necessarily something that we govern or request. More, we have the rules about the size of the lot and the size of the structures on it, and how close they are to the property lines, maybe how tall they are. There's how many stories they might be, those kinds of things. But actual house design or roof design, that's not something that we would typically know up front.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Councillor Juba?
Yeah, further to Councillor Bellemar's question, actually is a very good question. And I'm going to ask the silly questions, which I'm famous for. Going forward with our development plans, and if we hope to have a subdivision someday, would the solar panel roofing issue become a part of that planning, so that all the homes in a potential developed area do have the same roof line with the potential to protect the view of the country or whatever, and also so that the views aren't obstructed, and just provide for the solar energy?
So if there was a developer that was to come and, create a neighborhood, and if there was a theme of net zero, or there was a theme of every house is south facing to catch some of the passive heating and where the sun is in the north, it's passive cooling type things, which actually is counterintuitive to the solar energy. Because if you have all of your windows facing south, that means your roof is facing north, and that's not where your solar panels are. However, if a developer was to propose that, there was some sort of a, and I'm maybe talking out of turn here, but if there was a solar farm somewhere in that development that would help to power the homes, those would definitely be things that we could consider.
Always thinking for the future, and I know as a longtime resident of the community, we just want to encourage home building in our community, and we just want to make sure that proper homes go in the proper areas, and sightlines and all that other stuff are protected, and we do a great job of trying to accommodate all that.
Seeing none, I will call the question. All in favor? Is carried. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the community event listed below, and that is for Pine Creek First Nation powwow from July 8th to the 10th, 2022. Any questions on that? Councillor Eilers.
I noticed that they were all out of town. They were in Winnipeg, and there didn't seem to be any in Dauphin at all.
Yeah, that's correct. I guess the concept might be that the powwows happen right on their First Nation, and technically there is no First Nation in Dauphin specifically. But with our relationship with Pine Creek and how we're working through the addition to reserve process with them on some land on Main Street South, I thought it might be nice to include this information for council.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Councillor Juba. Councillor privileges. We'll start with Councillor Eilers. You ready?
Thank you. I attended on June 13th the regular council meeting. On June 14th, I was on a CIB Communities in Bloom webinar, and it was championing green leadership in your community. There was a lot of initiatives that we could do in our community, starting small, and was very easy to accommodate. On June 14th, I attended the State of the Union Chamber of Commerce. On June 16th, we had a planning workshop with Under One Roof, There was a group of community members who helped plant I believe we did 4 planters. June 16th, was at the Ag Society meeting. On June 18th, the Northwest Indigenous People Day. First, there was a Métis Community Center. Again, very well attended, and also later on in the afternoon at 1, there was at the Fort Dauphin Museum. There was many celebrations and activities for young and old. I felt it was very well attended and enjoyed. On June 20th, I missed the strategic planning priorities agenda as the venue was changed and virtual Teams meeting was unavailable. On June 22nd, I attended the June AMM district meeting, which was hosted by the city and the RM of Dauphin. Again, well attended and a good exchange of ideas and info of new initiative, especially the provincial and the federal. And there was a really good part on immigration. On June 22nd, I attended the Dolphin Friendship AGM. I just want many services that are offered as well as programs. And I would really like to encourage donations to the Food for Thought as they feed the youth in our community twice a week during school days. June 23rd, Parkland Four Season Toboggan Hill. I'm just having to try and pronounce this properly. I guess there's 2 ways to do it, but Mama Wee Indigenous Tribute Park, and it was a sod turning ceremony. On June 23rd, we had the Communities in Bloom meeting. Plans are underway for preparation for the evaluation day. Not judging by the CIB International judges. They will be touring our city on July the 28th, and I can encourage residents to continue in making our community looking great and supporting us. Reminder that the Dauphin Ag Society Fair begins on July the 1st to the 3rd, but more importantly, there will be a 4-H beef and sheep sale on June 30th at 7. Animals will be judged and some will be sold. And again, good to see all the work that has been done by the members. On June 29th, that's this week, will be a composting workshop at Under One Roof from 4:30 to 6:30. That's will be in front of or by the United Church. And then I want to congratulate all best wishes in your future endeavors. And I was sad that the weather didn't cooperate with your parade. It just seemed that the wind and rain came up as soon as they were starting. So that's unfortunate. And Country Fest will also start on July the 1st and 3rd. And I encourage everyone to please check both sites for the Dauphin Ag Society and Country Fest for specific details. And I just wanted to make sure everybody stays safe, take suitable prevention and precautions for sunburn and insects. And I want to wish everybody a happy Canada Day. That ends my report.
Excellent. Councillor Juba.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor Stakilo. June 13th, I attended the regular City Council meeting here at City Hall. June the 14th, I attended the Parkland Chamber of Commerce Annual State of the District at the Watson Arts Center. It was a well-attended event. June the 15th, attended a City Staff Appreciation Barbecue at the City Roundhouse. This was an opportunity to show the city's work crew appreciation for all the hard work they do. And it's actually a long time since I sat at a picnic table with my friend Dwayne Porath. We grew up together in Grandview as kids, so we had lots to talk about. It was really good to break bread with the people that work hard to keep our city moving on a daily basis. So thank you to those who organized that. And we have some chefs in the room here as well. So I want to thank the chefs for all their hard work in getting things organized. So June the 16th, another busy day. Parkland Chamber of Commerce monthly board meeting at the hub. It did not meet quorum. However, the people that were there, we had a great discussion on a whole bunch of different issues. And June 20th, I did attend the Strategic Planning and Priorities meeting at the Watson Arts Center. It was great to be back in the facility. It was great to meet board members and past current board members and see the changes over at the Watson Arts Center. And compliments to Councillor Bellemare for all her hard work and following up to make sure that renovations got done. And it was a great evening and a great chance to share with Peter Nadolny the improvements over at the Watson Arts Center. June the 22nd, attended the 2022 annual district meeting hosted by the City Dauphin and the RM, the Dauphin, at the Aspen Lodge. Lots of great discussions. Resolutions were passed for the June AMM convention in Winnipeg. Had lots of opportunities to meet different people, and it's great to be back socializing with other members of councils from different parts of the Parkland region. June 23rd, I attended the Mama Way Park Indigenous tribute sod turning ceremony. Phase 1, the co-op toboggan run is underway. I just want to congratulate board members who worked with many stakeholders. Against kudos to Councillor Bellemare for her leadership and on this committee, and the Rec Commission council members who had a positive influence on making sure that this project is well underway. And on a personal note, when I was a kid, I played when that place was still, when the Dauphin Redbirds were ahead of the Brewers, and when I sat at home plate, I was thinking to myself that, you know, the old story of the Field of Dreams and the baseball. So I was just thinking to myself that one Field of Dreams has transpired into another Field of Dreams going forward for Mama Way. And so good for them. And it'll be a great, the Habitat for Humanity is donating some of from our current build to help with the, so that you'll be getting some backfill shortly over at Brewer Diamond. On the 27th, I attended the audit, right before this council meeting, attended the audit and finance meeting, and Deputy Mayor Sacala did a great job of explaining to the public the results of that meeting. So I have some community events. I've been busy with Habitat for Humanity, so I just want to give a brief update. June the 16th, we hosted the Habitat for Humanity barbecue and announcement at Fusion Credit Union. We raised almost $2,000 for the. Also had two special check presentations. I want to thank Fusion Credit Union for hosting the event. Thank you to Co-op CKDM, Dolphin Herald, staff of Mr. Mike's, for assisting and co-sponsoring this event on behalf of Habitat for Humanity. Special thank you to the committee members who volunteered and spent many hours organizing this event and making sure that the event ran well. Most members of the council were there, and it was great to see them there. On Saturday, June the 18th, Habitat for Humanity operated with the fundraising canteen at the Dolphin Friendship Center. Thank you to Chantel, our family homeowner, and Nancy Triguna, one of our board members, for operating the canteen. There was almost $800 raised at that event, and I did not get any leftovers from this event because we're sold out. So thank you to those who sponsored that event, and also to the many people that came to the yard sale to purchase items. June the 21st, I attended the official safety meeting at Darren Eddy's office. Darren Eddy, Trent Gohan, and myself, and Herb Griffiths from Winnipeg's Habitat for Humanity safety officer. This was a crucial meeting to work down the checklist to make sure that we're in compliance with our Habitat for Humanity agreement, and that now that volunteers will be on site, we can have them safely on board. And I drove past the site today to do a safety check with the person that's building the forms. The forms for the footings are being built, so concrete will be poured soon. So it's a great. Like now, we're talking a little bit about the Parkland Ukrainian Family Support Team, and on June the 14th, the Parkland Ukrainian Family Support Team had a meeting here at City Hall, and after that, there was a massive amount of people here for a group photo. I think there was about 50 people showed up for the group photo, and that's not even the amount of people that actually volunteered. There's people that couldn't make it, so that just goes to show you that the size of the team that took to get that project underway and completed. June the 18th, I attended the National Indigenous Peoples Day celebration at Métis Community Center. I want to thank you to Frances Chartrand and her staff for organizing this event. I was there actually 2 or 3 times during the day. I was there for the morning speeches and what have you. Then I had to leave, and then I came back. I brought one of the Ukrainian families to the event. Frances Chartrand and the Métis elders were very welcoming to the Ukrainian families. And just Frances and I all shared that, much like when during the first immigration 100 years ago, the First Nation, Canada's first citizens welcomed the new people to their territory, and history is repeating itself, and it's happening again. So Frances was really impressed with the Ukrainian family, and the Ukrainian family was impressed with everything that went on in the hall. And on June 21st, to wrap up the celebrations, the fireworks lit the sky, and it was a wonderful display of fireworks for our community. Boy, it just goes on. I don't want to. A couple of barbecues that I attended, and you're going to have to stop attending them or just make a cameos because I'm getting a little husky around the waist. But I attended the Dolphin Fort first anniversary barbecue as a fundraiser in support of the Parkland Ukrainian Family Fund. I did my share by eating, and I could not believe the amount of people that actually showed up for that barbecue. That they just kept on coming. It was just unbelievable and a great support, and there was a lot of food went out to the different RCMP took up a bunch, and on and on and on. June 25th, I attended the Dauphin 2020 grad parade. There was 3 graduates that served as city council members. I just want to congratulate them and all the rest of the graduates that had fortitude to battle the inclement weather. And from my vantage point, everyone that were sitting in their vehicles really supported in celebration, and it was a great show of support for our grads, and so our heartwarming. So it was really good. On yesterday, I took a day off from volunteering, and I had an opportunity to attend the 100-year celebration at Holy Eucharist Ukrainian Catholic Church. This church was built as the focal for area settlers over 100 years ago, and it still stands there today. It was just an awesome day. There was a lot of people from Dauphin. Actually, one person I thought I should know that guy, somebody I know, and you know what? Most of the time that backfires on me, but this time it didn't. So it was really good. And one thing I did learn from yesterday's special event is that not only lead, but they also serve. So, and that person knows who who I'm referring to. So, report by congratulating the Sersky family for being recognized for their farming and community successes. They're strong community leaders, and they've been involved in both the farming industry and community involvement for many years. So this year's they were worthy recipients of this award. And just want to offer personal condolence to the Sawyer family in the passing of Bob Sawyer. So, Deputy Mayor, that's my short report for the day.
Thank you very much, Councillor Juba. Councillor Gallagher.
Thank you. On June 28th, I attended the Strategic Planning and Priorities meeting at the Watson, which also included a tour of the building to look at the recent upgrades. And I want to thank Barry Uwanishin, who has basically repainted the entire interior during the pandemic, including the very high spots. Then the Watson Board and Council met to talk about the building and plans for the future. On June 22nd, I attended the regional AMM meeting here in Dauphin. That's the Association of Manitoba Municipalities for our whole region. And so reps from all around came here to talk. And we talk about lobbying the provincial government on important matters. And the RM, as mentioned by our deputy manager, by our city manager, that the RM and the city hosted this event together. And June 23rd, I had a tour of the Dauphin Library building this week. These are both city buildings, the Watson and the library. And we also discussed plans for the future for the library. And on the 23rd as well, I met with the Citizens Climate Lobby of Canada group, the Dauphin chapter, along with our city manager. And we talked about some of the current things that the city is doing for climate adaptation and mitigation, and also our plans for the future in that area as well. And on the 16th, I attended the Habitat Barbecue, and that building site is on 7th Northeast, right? And so if people want to just drop by occasionally and just sort of follow the excitement, because the building has officially started. There's a big hole in the ground, and Councillor Juba was saying the footings are starting. So especially for kids who like watching buildings go up, that's a pretty exciting thing. Oh, yes, and there's a safety fence as well, so your kids will be safe. On June 17th, I worked at the Shiraz yard sale at the Friendship Center, and thank you to everyone who donated, and for those people who shopped, that's also important. I figured that there was about 80 person hours required to organize all the stuff that was donated, so there was a lot of stuff. And each Ukrainian family got basics that they need for their households, and then they could come and just choose whatever they wanted. And it just worked out really well. The rest was put up for sale, and there's a nice chunk of money there to help them. And I just wanted to mention, too, that some of our Syrian immigrant families came to shop at the sale, and they donated generously to this cause, because clearly they understand what it means to leave your homeland and to start all over again with basically nothing. So they were very supportive as well. On June 21st, I attended a Rotary meeting where Amanda Novak spoke, and Amanda is the executive director of Dauphin Neighborhood Renewal, which now owns the former United Church building, and she spoke about the plans that they have going on there. Got lots of great new ideas happening. They're looking for volunteers, so go and see her if you have some spare time, and also talking to about some of the rentals they have, because that, of course, helps with income for their programs. On the 23rd of June, I attended the sod turning for the new Toboggan Hill, and that is located where the Brewer Diamond used to be. And the hill will be called the Co-op Family Toboggan Run, as a thank you for Co-op being the first group that supported this project. It's a way of saying thank you. The park itself will be called by the Ojibwe word, which can be pronounced Mama Way or Mama Wee. And I think what that word actually means. The requests for proposals have gone out, so we'll see what the next steps are like. And also, just a reminder, this is the project that the 3 Indigenous partners in our community are working together. So we have Northwest Métis Council, we have Treaty 2 Territory, and Dauphin Friendship Center. So history in the making here. And kudos, thank you to all our citizens who have managed to cut and tame their grass. It's been a challenging time to do this because it keeps raining and it's warm and it just keeps growing. And best wishes for an enjoyable long weekend. You plan to take in events at the fair and Country Fest. It's a great time to reflect on our country's past and our future. We're lucky to live in such a free country that works hard to address its problems. Happy Canada Day. Thank you.
Great, excellent. Thanks for that. For myself, my notes go back here to back to May 30th, as I was away for the June 13th regular council meeting. So the last council meeting I attended was of May 30th. June 2nd to the 5th, I was able to attend the FCM annual conference in Regina this year. On any events that anybody gets to go back to recently, it's just nice to be back in person, being able to network and see some familiar faces and meet some new ones for sure, and that certainly was the case at FCM. Throughout my time there, I was able to attend several great sessions, including a session on local solutions in facing climate change, Together for Net Zero, rural infrastructure and the road to recovery, Indigenous and municipal partnerships, as well attend the usual regional caucus meetings and the plenary sessions, as well as the political keynote sessions that they have. It's always a jam-packed schedule. And I was also able to join in for a few study tours. And again, it was really nice to be able to network and hear the triumphs as well as the struggles from other municipalities, and that there is a way forward to tackling some of these hard issues that face everyone. On June 18th, I brought greetings at the National Indigenous Peoples Day celebration that was hosted by the Northwest Métis Council. On June 20th, I was able to participate in the strategic PNP, which has been mentioned was over at the WAC. It was a great meeting. It was nice to be able to get out and have a meeting outside of City Hall and see the exciting things that are going on over at the Watson Arts Center. On June 22nd, I was unable to attend the AMM June District meeting that was hosted here, but I did attend a economic development meeting over the lunch hour here at City Hall. And one of the things from that meeting, we're starting to progress and look at having some more focused groups looking at some of the things that we're doing and having more of a focus, and one of them being with the accommodation tax, having a subcommittee looking at some of the things we can do with the accommodation tax moving forward, as well as some of the other tourism opportunities that we have in the community, and those subcommittees. So that's starting to take shape, which was a real priority and focus for the Economic Development Committee. On June 23rd, I was able to attend the sod turning and the unveiling at Mamawee Park, and celebrate the first phase of the co-op family toboggan run. And earlier today, I sat in on the Audit and Finance Committee meeting. Just want to make note that the Dauphin Neighborhood Renewal group is having their AGM tomorrow, which is starting at 6 o'clock, and it's over at under one roof. So if you are wanting to attend that, there is a meal being provided at this one, and I think they won't have sort of the numbers for that already, but I'm sure if you contact Amanda first thing tomorrow over at DNRC, she'll do her best to get you in for the meal, but you're more than welcome to attend the AGM as well. And again, that starts at 6 o'clock. I too, whether it's from the DR, the high school graduates, or whether it's middle school, the kids going from grade 5 into middle school, those graduates, the middle school and elementary schools. It's an exciting time of year for all of them, and to start to a new chapter for them. As has been stated, this is an exciting weekend coming up for Dauphin as the 2022 Dolphin Fair kicks off, as well as the Country Fest. We see the return of Country Fest this year. So Country Fest will offer its usual 3 days of top-notch country performers up at the hill, and some exciting activities and vendors up there as well. So I encourage everyone to get out and enjoy some fantastic entertainment, whether it's at Country Fest or the fair or both. And if you do choose to partake in the festivities, please do it in a responsible and respectful manner. And I too want to wish everyone a happy Canada Day. With that, moved by Councillor Delamere, seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that the regular council meeting be recessed at 6:12. All those in favor? Motion carried. And that is it.